My name is Jennifer Tidd. My autistic, verbally impaired son, Quentin, cannot speak for himself, sadly. He suffered severe trauma being locked away in solitary confinement in a Fairfax County school over 400 times in 3 years. Those are only the documented incidents. I have no way of knowing how much time he spent locked away, and neither do any of you. I don't trust the data collection and reporting still, and likely never will. I keep hearing the refrain repeated by many in these meetings that behavior is communication, yet I don't think your responses to this human rights crisis in our county indicates anyone truly understands this. And the crisis is not data or branding problem for FCPS. The crisis is that there is no way you can humanely do something to another human being that is inherently inhumane. You know I'm furious. You know my terms, but in case I've not communicated my outrage or terms adequately, let me repeat them on record here tonight. I'm furious. My little boy was mentally tortured in solitary confinement cell for hundreds of hours at school. My terms are a total ban of seclusion and restraint to uproot a toxic system that makes these draconian practices necessary and to replace it with something that meets the needs of students screaming for accommodations not having been met. I've been out front of gatehouse offices for 21 days total. Of the 437 days I intend to spend out there in observance of my son's suffering. At times by myself, other times more join me when they're able. I've received hundreds of notes from all over the United States and Canada of parents who feel as we do, and we are organizing. Those who concur with the unilateral call by the ACLU, Amnesty International, CDC, World Health Organization, the UN, and Autism Self-Advocacy Network for a total prohibition of these cruel, aversive methods used against disabled and minority children. I had the privilege of meeting autistic activists at a rally in DC yesterday to protest the use of shock treatment against autistic and intellectually disabled people, and I wept as I heard their voices speaking of the unspeakable cruelty they endured in schools and residential facilities, experiences much like my son Quentin's. They explained to me what it feels like to be an autistic person, and I told them about my little guy Q. It was a marvelous gift they gave me to let me climb inside his head and understand what it might feel like to be him. It occurred to me after this experience, with all the work sessions you've had on seclusion and restraint, all the teachers, administrators, school board members, PTA reps, special ed higher-ups at the table, has a single person at any of your meetings or panels or work groups been a verbal autistic person who could tell you, I'm going to keep talking because my child was in seclusion for 218 hours and I'm going to finish. Who could tell you the mental agony of what it's like to be treated like Pavlov's dog in school, to tell you what it's like to be managed rather than accommodated, to be locked up alone in a solitary confinement cell and held down by adults and painful forms of restraints. Let me tell you, with over 1,600 incidents of restraint and seclusion, I'd bet my life that number is at least triple. Many of whom I have spoken were afraid to be honest in fear of retaliation against their child. So like the obscenity of this data crisis, surveys aren't getting all the voices you must hear at the table in this discussion. Without all the voices, you're erasing Quentin yet again, and every single person who isn't able to tell their pain in any other way. Quentin was naked more than once in his cell and not given clean, dry clothes to put back on for 20 to 30 minutes at a time. Quentin was forced to wipe up his own urine from his fight or flight trauma on numerous occasions. It's all in the reports, but FCPS never punished my child, right? They punished him for being autistic, and everyone who continues to prop up these practices is complicit in their pain.
Ms. Tidd.
I'm going to finish. Thinking of a child as simply a behavior problem disposes you to think only of punishment. Thinking of a child struggling to handle something difficult like a disability encourages you to help them through their distress by accommodating their needs. These children have a right to a free and appropriate public education. Seclusion and restraint deny them of that right. Autism is not a behavior problem. It only becomes one when their needs are not met. Stop locking our kids up and start accommodating them. I'm not going away, and while Q can't speak, I can yell. and I intend to continue yelling until this abuse stops in our schools.
Thank you, Ms.